Welcome, everybody, to the London Report for February 28th, 2025. Moving out of February into March. And thus far, this week was a good week for the MBS markets. Thank goodness we've seen some positive movement in long-term interest rates, which has been nice to see. We'll start right away with mortgage applications. Purchases up 3% in terms of activity, refinances down 4%. Initial jobless claims, those filing for unemployment for the first time, saw a large increase for the initial claims of 22,000. Continuing claims, there were no changes. This week, we also did get fourth quarter GDP. Came in at 2.3%. That did hit expectations, no surprises there. So market responded favorably to that as well this week. Now, in light of today being what they call the economic blackout, some interesting information to share with you regarding where spending is coming from. This is very interesting to me and very telling, but the top 10% of earners, those making 250,000 or more, those households making 250,000 or more, they make up basically 50% of the spending in the US economy right now. That's a huge percentage coming from the top 10%. Very unfortunate to see that, in my opinion. Their spending continues to rise while those people below that top 10%, the rest of America essentially struggles to pay their bills. And you can see with personal income and spending, when we look at these numbers, personal income up 0.9%, but spending down 0.2% month over month and at its weakest level since February of 2021. Now, the savings rate did jump up from 3.5% to 4.6%. The caveat, though, is that's for the top 10 percenters. So those are the people that are doing really well, that are able to still save. And if you look at this chart, also very interesting, this is the percentage of balances that are 90 days or plus delinquent based on loan type. And in here, what's important to note, while mortgages is doing well, people recognize they need to continue making their mortgage payments. That's key for your credit. We see a large increase in the delinquency on auto loans and credit card debts. So while people are doing their diligence on paying their mortgages, they're having difficulty with the credit cards and the auto loans now. Student loans down drastically, but that's because they're waiving all the late fees for those people that haven't been able to make payments. So that's not truly representative of what's going on with student loans at this time. Now, this week we did get PCE that was released today. This is the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. And what's good about this number is it came in at expectations. Not a lot of surprises here. So for the headline number was up 0.3%, and month over month at 2.5%. But core also at 0.3%, and that was where expectations were. So good to see there. Some of the things that impacted the PCE numbers, shelter always the biggest component, always one of those drivers behind the PCE numbers. But drug prescriptions, 2.49% actually had a pretty big impact this time. So interesting to note there. Now, I wanted to show something to you. If you are a homeowner presently, people might not realize just how well they've done with their homes. This is Case-Shiller City Indexes based on how much appreciation the top basically 20 cities have seen over the past 5 years. Denver over here towards the left has seen just over 40% of appreciation since 2020. So if you bought your home in 2020, pat yourself on the back because you've done well with building wealth from that home ownership. So those people that have sat on the fence and said, I'm going to wait for the market to improve, I don't want to offer over list, those arguments back then, you've essentially, unfortunately, missed out on all the wealth you could have created from home ownership. This breaks it down year over year, showing what the overall appreciation levels for the past 5 years have been. So this is why I say if you bought in 2020, You saw 10.6% appreciation that year and 19% in 2021. Just phenomenal. Right now in 2024, we did hit 4%, which is actually really good. That's the normal national trend over the past several decades. 2020 and 2021 were kind of an anomaly with the pandemic. Excuse me. But 2024 does represent the norm. And what's interesting to point out into that year, there were several people that felt like we were going to hit this market bubble, that cost of homes were going to decline. And we haven't seen that. And that is just because, again, I can't say it enough. The amount of demand out there cannot be satisfied with the inventory levels that we have. And the inventory levels do not show to be changing anytime soon. So let's take a look at the MBS charts this week. You can see all of that green, really good to see. We've seen we now have rates under 7%. Just kind of depends on where your situation, where we land at. But this has been a really positive week for us. Very happy to see it. So we'll continue to hope we continue to see this trajectory over the next couple of months to come. Hard to say. But if you're in the market, like I said, it is a good time to get in there and buy. Get it while you can, because we are going to continue to see appreciation. You will grow your wealth through home ownership. It's one of the best ways to obtain generational wealth for you and your family. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I do appreciate when you like my videos. Feel free to share it if you deem it necessary. But reach out with questions. I'll be happy to answer those for you. Otherwise, enjoy this weekend. It looks like the weather's going to be amazing. Thank God. And I will see you next week.